Morning from Seattle, Washington. It's time for Coffee and Cosmos with Robin. My name is Robin Fritz, and today we're going to talk about connecting with your dead, how you can connect with your dead on your own. And it's a preview of my radio show this afternoon, which will go into much more detail on how we connect with our dead on our own. But let's get started, as we usually do, with a quick guided exercise with the crystal Fallon, the citrine Lemurian quartz. And as we do that, this is an opportunity for you to get grounded and balanced in this space with us. It's our community time together. And also, as we finish this, please chime in and let me know who you are and where you're chiming in from today. And I'm also going to do a few quick readings for people. So if you have a really specific question, ask it and we'll explore it together. So let's start with a quick grounding and balancing exercise with Fallon. And as we do that, imagine that you're going to use this time to clear out and get grounded and balanced with us and to bring into mind one of the main reasons why you want to connect with your dead, or a way in which you can connect more easily with your dead, and invite Fallon's energy to help you with that. So I'm going to put him in front of me so you can get a good look. So as you take a deep breath, take your attention to the top of your head. And as you breathe down from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, just release the cares of the day and feel yourself settling into your chair. So breathing down from the top of your head, down your face, your shoulders, chest, hips, knees, and feet. The top of your head to the bottom of your feet. And then as you breathe up from your feet, just invite Fallon's healthy energy to come in and be with you during this time. You may experience it as a gold light, a feeling. You may see him. You may experience warmth and connection. It's all here for us to connect together today. So breathing up from your feet, past your knees, hips, chest, shoulders, face, and the top of your head. So I work as a professional medium because my deceased dad, Ray, asked me to, and which makes me a little bit different than the other mediums out there. And one of the things that I do as a professional intuitive and spiritual consultant and a past life regression specialist is really help people claim their power as intuitive and healing beings, because intuition and healing are innate to us. So I just want to talk a little bit again about how, what it means to connect with our dead and how we can go about doing that. So let me get started, and let me just say hello to people chiming in. Elise, Christine, Pamela, Maura B. Oh, I'm so jealous. Alberta, Maura from Alberta. Elsie, doesn't feel like it. Karen from Chicago. Maura, if you're talking about Maura Green, your message for you from your parents and grandparents, this is a great way to tune in today and see where you are. So let's get started here on what I want to tell you briefly in these few minutes that we have together, and reintroduce myself. Robin Fritz. If you tune in to ohmtimes.com radio this afternoon at 2 Pacific time, 5 Eastern, the practical, intuitive, mind, body, spirit for the real world, the whole hour is devoted to how we connect with our dead, with a few stories that will give you some insight on how you can go about this for yourself. But the thing that I wanted to cover today is, kind of how we got into where we are today with mediumship and what that means for you in connecting with your dead. So if if you're tuning in here to Humanity Healing, or you're tuning into my YouTube page later, as live broadcast, and someone just joined us. We go about our days really cutting ourselves off from a basic part of us, our innate intuitive and healing abilities. And we've been doing this for the last few hundred years. And it's not a fault, it's not something that we've done wrong. It's just how our culture has grown over the last few hundred years. So in recent years, mediumship has become a really big deal. And you see radio shows, you see TV shows, there are books out there. I have a book coming up on what the afterlife is like. It'll be out this winter. And stories, sessions from clients, with clients who have agreed to have their sessions go public because of how much help they've been to them. And people have even this process of certifying other people to be mediums, whatever that means. But the reality is, some of us work professionally as intuitives and then specialize as mediums, and that's one of my specialties. But what I try to do is help everyone really claim their power as intuitives and healers. So everyone I work with learns how to connect with their dead on their own. And I cover this more in my book, and I cover this more in webinars. But here's the thing. Over the last few hundred years, we become so dependent on science that we've forgotten that science is just looking for things that we who are using our intuition already know. That's one thing. So what we do in using our intuition, including working as mediums, whether you're doing it just to connect with your own dead, or you're doing it professionally as I do to help people connect with their dead and to heal grief, this is a skill set we've had since we've been human, and it's part of who we are. And I'll talk about that more this afternoon and how different cultures connect with their dead and what that means to us now. And the really fascinating thing is if we allow other people, whether it's our religion, our culture, whether science says, well, we can't prove it, so it's not real, none of those things matter when we're trying to really tap into using our innate intuitive and healing abilities. You all have them, and you're all tuning in here today, and you tune in to the other broadcasts from Humanity Healing and the radio shows at Om Times and the articles at Om Times Magazine, because you know you're part of a community that believes there is more in the world than what we can pinpoint through scientific means, through belief systems, whatever. And using our intuition is an experiential thing. And starting to use your intuition is tapping back into a skill set that we've just handed off to our scientific culture in the last few hundred years. And we've made ourselves less as a result. And we've all been guilty of this, and it's not a crime. It's just we're busy and we don't think about it. And when I think back to my earlier life, it never occurred to me to try to connect with my dead. Not until my dad went out of his way to knock on a psychic's door and call me up and talk to me. And that's why I'm out there doing this, to help you connect with your dead on your own. So remember, connecting with your dead is your birthright, so no one can keep you from doing that. However, because it requires you to be able to use your intuition, the first and most important thing you need to do to connect with your dead is to really, really be comfortable using your intuition. So I've had people come to me for mentoring, people who wanted to be mediums, and they got very frustrated because my response was, let's make you comfortable using your intuition. I want you walking around on the street, going to the grocery store, whatever it is, making your intuition a central element of your life. When you're comfortable using your intuition, talking with a tree or feeling the energies of a tree, however your intuition works, when you're comfortable with that, you develop that muscle that allows you to get past your grief, to get past even curiosity, and put yourself in the frame of mind that allows you to connect with your dead. And I'll tell you, this isn't a secret, but it won't surprise you at all to know that when you're trying to connect with your own loved ones, whether they're living or dead, like when I have an issue with my animals, I call a good friend to see what she can get from them to either back up or add information to what I'm already getting from them. So what I'm saying is, you're trying to connect with your dead, it's very emotional for you and it's emotional for them. And our own desire to want to do that, to want to have a conversation, to want to imagine that we can be in their presence one more time, even though they're no longer in their bodies, that keeps us from using our intuition. That holds us back. The really intense desire creates a block. It's just how things go. So that's why the one thing I want to leave you with in this short broadcast today is that if you want to connect with your dead, learn to use your intuition. Learn to make it part of your daily life. Learn how your particular intuitive ability works. And I do this with every client in every session, whether it's an intuition session or space clearing or mediumship, business situation, a past life regression or spiritual consulting. Every single client learns how their intuition works. And that is how you start to develop that muscle. So if you're sitting there thinking, I talk to my dead all the time and I just don't hear them talking back, and you're discouraged and you're upset about it, well, it may be that your intuition doesn't work towards hearing them. And you should instead sit back and try to experience how that feels, or see them, or simply know that they're connected to you. So I'll talk more about this afternoon, give you some broader tips on that and some ideas on, and kind of where our culture's been over time, because a lot of people have said, well, connecting with the dead is evil. It's not a good thing, and that's ridiculous. It's not evil. They're souls. They're souls that were in bodies that are no longer in bodies, but their soul and their consciousness is still there, and that's how they connect with us, and that's how they go about choosing what they're going to do next, whether it's reincarnating here with us or doing something else. And that's important. And the other thing I want to leave you with before I go and look at some questions here is our dead can see us. They don't have their bodies anymore, but they can see us. And so in a sense, when we're trying to connect with them, they kind of have the advantage because they can see us. And they're like, cheering us on. And we can't see them, so we're kind of, held back a little bit from that. We can't see them and experience them as easily as they could see and experience us. So in a way, it's kind of a leap of faith and belief in yourself and your loved ones that you could do this. And so use that as a guide. If you get frustrated, know that it takes time to develop a muscle. You don't learn a foreign language overnight, right? You don't learn a skill set that allows you to go out and earn a living overnight. It takes time. So practice and believe in yourself and believe that your loved ones do want to connect with you, and know that the universe, which includes the afterlife, is huge, and there's an awful lot going on out there. And your loved ones are always going to be interested in you. They're always going to want the best for you. And they're always going to want to connect with you. So set a time to do that in. Work on your intuition. Join me on my radio show this afternoon. And I'll give you some more ideas about that and some more things to put into context when we're talking about connecting with our loved ones. Elise, you needed this. Hey, great. Hey, everyone. Thanks for chiming in. Oh, Anthony, I remember you, Anthony. You were here. So I know. Megan, your grandmother passed not long ago. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all of you who are chiming in today and have lost loved ones. recently I did a session with a woman who lost her son. And there is, I feel for everyone who's lost someone. I started losing loved ones when I was 9 years old. My 14-year-old brother died of leukemia. I've lost my parents, my grandparents, family members my own age, and of course my animal children. And just a few weeks ago, it was 5 years since I lost my dog Alki, who has reincarnated as my dog Oliver. And then my cat Grace, who's reincarnated as my cat Karis. And just to touch on that reincarnation with our animals bit, it happens more often than we know, and it doesn't really ease your grief over losing them in their previous bodies, right? So be patient with yourself. I know what your grief is like, and developing your intuitive muscle, getting a good spirit guide to be with you 24/7 to help monitor that is all ways that you can learn to connect with them. And grief really does hold us back a little bit, so be patient with yourself and know that it's possible because it's innate in all of us. There are some of us who do this professionally because that just happens to be our particular super skill set, so to speak, just like other people can do amazing work on cars, can create companies for technology that can do all sorts of things. Whatever you're doing to earn a living is what you're skilled at. And that's the difference. And that's the only difference. So let's see what else people have to say. Then oh boy, I know how much you missed your parents. Good. So, Shane, I want to say that there are other mediums that do live readings on mediumship, and I do not as a rule, because to me, mediumship is the most sacred thing there is out there. It's connecting souls who are in pain because they're separated, but they're also growing in different directions. And when our souls choose a human body, they're learning and growing in that experience. And when they pass, they learn and they're growing in a different experience. And so they're going this way and we're going this way. And so those moments of connection are important. And I don't want to make them trivial by looking at them really quickly for you here. But I do want to say that there is, out of the hundreds of times that I have talked with the dead, Shane, this is for you, Shane, and for all of you who said that you've lost loved ones today. Even if we've had a tough time with them for one reason or another, they weren't easy people to get along with. And there's a session like that in my book where a person came literally to get closure after being abused for many years by her mother. Even when life with our loved ones isn't perfect, which it never is, because we always have our ups and downs, right? When people die and move on and they can see the bigger picture and they start to review their lives with their spiritual team, they're like, what did I set out to do? How did I goof up? How did I succeed? What do I want to do next? They're thinking about us. They're still loving you, and they still want the best for you, and they don't want you to be buried in grief, just like they are learning to overcome their grief and put it in perspective of their many lifetimes and their time with you. Remember the happy times you had with them and use that joy and that happiness that you have and your great love for them to help boost your intuition when you set about trying to connect with them on your own. Give yourself some time. It takes time, but it's an amazing experience. And sometimes it happens without even thinking about it. And sometimes those signs that you ask for, they're real, and enjoy them. Sometimes our loved ones have a real sense of humor and realize that they can connect with us in ways that didn't even occur to them while they were alive. So enjoy them having fun with you. So that's what I wanted to say to you, Shane, and everyone here. When they die tragically, they're shocked usually. there was a person, well, I'll talk about that more this afternoon, but a tragic death, your spiritual team is right there with you, helping you deal with the aftermath of that in the afterlife. And they're not alone, not for long. And they're being taken care of. So the one thing I know that they would say to all of you is take care of yourself. And that's what I wanted to tell you about today in terms of our crystal of the week. This is one of the latest members of my crystal family. Is that not awesome? And you can tell I'm a little bit of a magpie. This is the polished side, and this is the unpolished side. And this is a piece of blue fluorite from the Bingham Mine in Utah, which is now closed, I guess. And I just acquired this piece in my family on Saturday, so we're just getting to know each other. But fluorite, if you're looking to connect with your dead and to boost your confidence in your ability to do that and to work on your intuition, fluorite is a great crystal for discernment. So it helps you to realize that it's going to take time to develop that intuitive muscle. It also helps you with your grief because it stabilizes mind, body, and spirit, okay? It'll boost your intuition, so it'll also help you get grounded and balanced, because sometimes when people are first tapping into their intuition, they tap into really large things out there, and that they can get a little spacey, with the crown chakra and so on wide open. So, excuse me, fluorite will help you stay grounded and balanced and help boost your intuition while you're learning to work with it and developing that really strong intuitive muscle. And another thing is, fluorite will also help with geopathic and electromagnetic stress. So it's a good thing to keep around your crystal. So guess where my fluorite is going to live after it in Fallon have a chance to spend some time together? Right here on my desk. And as a quick humorous side note, fluorite is also good for disorganization. And if you could see my desk, you would see that's a good thing for me to have, because I always have piles of things that I need to be going through and working on. So I want to thank you for joining me today. It's a big, big subject, talking about mediumship. And it's one of my passions is to really help people learn to develop their intuition and work with it so that it is giving you the information that will help you lead a better life at home and at work, and it'll help you have a more well-rounded life, and it will help you hone in on the information that's out there for you to know. So your intuition is your innate ability as a citizen of the planet. So work on learning it. And if you can't tune in to the radio show today at omtimes.com radio, the practical, intuitive, mind, body, spirit for the real world, we're at 2 Pacific time, 5 Eastern. It will be in the archives. You will be able to listen to a recording. And also, if you like this broadcast and you like the other broadcasts you get here on Humanity Healing, I would really appreciate it if you go to my page, The Practical Intuitive, Robin M. Fritz, and like that page. You can also sign up for my newsletter, which I am going to get out here in the next week or so, which will give you a free video meditation with Crystal Fallon that you can watch over and over again, good for grounding and balancing. And it is the holiday season. I don't really offer things like Black Friday things, but I will offer 10% off any sessions that are booked and paid for before the end of the year. So you can always get a gift certificate for a loved one or for yourself. If you go to my website, robinfritz.com, excuse me, and I offer personal and business intuition, mediumship, of course, space clearing, animal communication, past life and between life regression, soul progression clearing, which is a form of past life regression that just helps clear blockages and clear out incidents from this life and fill you up with healthy energy. So I hope you can come back and join us here in this space next week. And I hope that you are going about your week developing that intuitive muscle. Come back next week with any questions that came up while you were really working on just walking around and learning how to listen to your intuition. Remember, all of the information that you need is out there. What you need to learn to do is to ask the right questions to pull that information down. So the question for you this week is, how do I boost my intuition so that later I can learn to connect with my dead? So I want to thank you all for joining me today. This is a great place for us to gather each week, and I really appreciate being here with you. And as we close today, imagine that you're bringing your energy back into your body, closing down that connection with Fallon, and just boosting your own healing abilities. Just crossing your hands on your heart, breathing in deeply, and imagine that you're sending healing, grounding energy to yourself. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Take care.